is an opportunity for me to give my statement. I don't usually read from paper. Whenever I have any kind of school event at school, I usually just speak from my head and from my heart, and I just know when to shut up. However, tonight, being born and raised in this town and hearing so many people express concerns over what's going on, I feel it's time to make a statement. On the day of the incident, the assistant principal and the school psychologist were investigating a student for a possible possession of a pocket knife. I was informed of the small pocket knife and went to my office to look up the policy on possible possession of a weapon. I immediately called the superintendent and asked her to come to the office. She did, and I informed her the student had it on their possession but did not use it. The person did not threaten anyone or show it off. The superintendent said, let's call the SRO. He was out to lunch. So she asked for the police officer from the middle school to come over. He did, and he called the station to ask if it was indeed a possession of a weapon. He got off the phone and said it was not possession of a weapon because it was not used for unlawful purposes. He said it was not a criminal matter, it was a school matter concerning a juvenile. The superintendent said good, and I said we just wanted to cover our bases. The assistant principal, the Secaucus police officer, and myself were present during this time. She and I discussed the school matter regarding discipline. I said 2 days, and she said, whatever you think, it's your call. I don't know this kid. The pocket knife was with the assistant principal, and it was not determined to be the possession of a weapon. The superintendent leaves the office, and I go about another matter. Moments later, the assistant principal comes to my office with a tiny bag containing something. I go into his office, I ask the student what it is. I asked the student, and the response was no, it was not marijuana, and then changed it to I think it might be. Then the student said, I guess it is. The student said the item was in his shoe. I looked at the policy concerning this, and I called the superintendent back to my office to show her and discuss the matter. She said this is another ball game. The assistant principal and I told her the substance was found in the shoe. She agreed to increase the suspension to 5 days. She told the assistant principal that the police said the small pocket knife situation was one that we should handle ourselves. The suspension was changed to 5 days. She said, unless you want to make a big thing. I deferred to the superintendent. We discussed medical clearance, medical evaluation, and counseling. I told the assistant principal, holding the bag, you smell like a skunk. The superintendent said, were you at a Grateful Dead concert with the student? I was shocked and I was appalled. She said something like this. We repeated to follow the procedure and what the student needed to do once they left the school. Twice the superintendent asked me, what are you going to do with that, referring to the substance. I said I will give it to our SRO who will dispense with it. Never did she suggest what to do with it or take any issue with what I was saying. The SRO came moments later and I gave it to him. I said it was a juvenile matter. He said it was a juvenile matter and the schools would take care of this. The student was not going to be charged. The state has been changing and they want to help kids rather than give criminal records, which is a good thing, he said. He said to get rid of it. I said how, and he said to flush it down the toilet. I said, will you come with me because I wanted to make sure it was witness, and that was that. The next morning at 7:35, when I came off the library duty, I saw the superintendent in the copy room speaking to the SRO, where staff members were making copies. I heard this and I said, what's the matter? The superintendent said she does not like how the substance was dispensed with. I said, we can go into my office to discuss this, please. She reiterated to the SRO how she did not like how it was handled. He told her there was nothing wrong with it. I asked her if I was in trouble for following the directions I was giving in his presence. She said, no, I have no issues with you at this. The SRO is a witness to this. The SRO told me she went back to him after the incident trying to get him to say I did something wrong. He told her I did nothing wrong. It was handled. The police were involved. The police gave us directions. We followed their directive. This is all over with. It was not a crime. Their SRO said the student does not have to be charged. He said the superintendent got mad at him for not going along with her and saying that I did something wrong. Their SRO wanted to know what was the basis for my suspension and called it ridiculous. My question is, the superintendent never suggested to the assistant principal and myself to do anything other than suspension, drug clearance, medical evaluation, and counseling. Both matters were turned over to the police. We did our part, we cooperated with them, and we supported their advice based upon the memorandum of agreement. They represent the law. Who are we to question what they tell us to do when it comes to how we handle police matters? The superintendent is well aware of this. Why has there been no investigation into her? and her improperly trying to influence the SRO. Why have I been suspended? This seems to be very unfair to me, and I have been hurt by these actions. I asked to attend a closed meeting to discuss all these matters in private. In the alternative, I asked to have the matters surrounding my suspension discussed in public so I can be present and hear what the superintendent is saying about me and respond. Both of these requests were denied by Mr. Fogarty in a letter and an email sent to my lawyer this afternoon. Despite my respectful request, I understand that the board met today at 4 p.m. in closed session and discussed my employment, facts surrounding my suspension, facts leading to my suspension, and facts related to my suspension. I did not even get a Rice notice that my employment was going to be discussed during the board meeting scheduled for today until yesterday. The way it is being handled, with all due respect, is not the correct way. This is not what I teach my students in the high school. It is not the way I would treat someone. Anyone who knows me knows this. I miss my students terribly, and I miss my staff immensely. Since my tenure, we have entered into the top 100 high schools in New Jersey Monthly Magazine twice, and once in the U.S. News and World Report last year. This never happened with any other principal in the high school, though I applaud all their efforts to get to the point where we got to today. The College Board has put us in the AP Honor Roll, where out of over 582 high schools, we have high-achieving passing scores of 3, 4s, and 5s. I have unified my staff as witnessed by the Middle States Association. They all agree that our test scores in SAT and AP are significantly up. We were recognized as number 4 in Hudson County last month for having SAT scores above average, number 1 in public schools. I truly believe that the superintendent is out to damage my good reputation, and I will repeat that. I do believe the superintendent is out to damage my good reputation. This saddens and it hurts me and it hurts the school. The stories I hear of what's going on up there right now, it disheartens me. I believe that she has embarrassed me, the town, the Secaucus Police Department, our school system, my family, by her actions and reckless and spiteful actions. I am hopeful that the board will do the right thing. I truly am. You should not be divided on this. You have to know the right thing. I should be given a public apology and reinstated to my position so I may continue to do the right things and do all the good things I have begun at Secaucus High School. I thank you for listening, and thank all those that came here tonight for my support. I love you, and I hope that things get rectified quickly. Thank you.